the morning and you cannot sleep. It's 2:30 in the morning and you cannot sleep. You roll from one side to the other. You pound your pillow. Nothing helps. Everyone else sleeps, but not you. And so it's 2:30 in the morning, it becomes 3:30, and you still haven't slept. And anxiety begins to have its way with you. Another hour passes. You cover your head with a pillow. You feel like crying. What a mess. What does all this anxiety mean? All this insecurity, all this trepidation, all this worry, all this restlessness. What does it mean? Well, it means simply this. You are a human being. You're not stupid. You're not emotionally underdeveloped. You're not immature. Your parents didn't fail you. It doesn't mean you failed them. And this is important. It does not mean you're not a Christian. Christians battle anxiety. Jesus did. In the Garden of Gethsemane on the night before his crucifixion, he prayed for the cup of suffering to be taken away from him. And he prayed with such ferocity that the capillaries burst and rivulets of crimson rolled down his face. Jesus battled anxiety. He faced fears, but he fought through his fears and surrendered them to God and fulfilled his mission. And anxiety did not win. And such is God's plan for you. Anxiety comes with life, but it doesn't have to dominate your life. God's plan for you is not a life that is drenched in anxiety. It is his will that you and I learn to live a life that is characterized by calm and not chaos, by peace and not panic.
You ever felt nearly swamped in your life? Like, I'm still showing up, but barely. I'm making it and I'm smiling, but nobody knows what's really behind this smile. The things I think about, some days I just want to run away from it all. I want to suggest something to you today about the storms of anxiety in your life and the waves and the winds that are blowing in your life. Because, man, the winds will blow. They will blow. Absolutely. And the waves will break and they will crash. No doubt about it. There are some things that you're afraid of that make no sense from heaven's perspective. There are some things that are causing you to shut down. They're paralyzing you, that are senseless when you put it in the context of who God is in you and what you mean to him. And he says, I want you to train your heart to be anxious for nothing. If you're following after God's purpose, you got no reason to ever be anxious. Be anxious for nothing.
How can somebody really live a life in which they're anxious for nothing? Do not let yourself be caught in a state of perpetual anxiety. That's what he's saying. It's impossible to lead a life free of anxiety, but we can discover a life that is void of perpetual anxiety. Anxiety comes with life, but it does not have to dominate our lives.
You see, anxiety, depression, and unhappiness, they all come from a sense of powerlessness. They all come from a sense of powerlessness. So when you're powerless, you feel anxious. When you're powerless, you feel depressed. When you're powerless, you feel unhappy. So the idea that you're powerless over your debts, powerless over the sentence, powerless over the battle, that somehow it's up to you to try to make it happen, that will bring you sadness. It will bring you anxiety. It will bring you, so we only get anxious about something because we're not certain about what the outcome is going to be. Why would you be anxious about something you're sure about? You know, when you're rooting for your favorite team, when it's live and it's happening, and the game is really close and it's down to the last minute, you get anxious about it. It's just an example that just shows how our emotions operate. You understand the anxiety when it's close and when it's on the edge, because you're not sure. But let me ask you something. If you already know, and if you're watching, you would have no anxiety. Why? Because you already know the outcome, right? See, you have no fear and no anxiety when you know the outcome. Well, the outcome of whatever your need is my God shall supply it. So when you know the outcome, anxiety leaves you.
Today I need you to embrace what comes hard. Today I need you to accept the challenge. Today I need you to fall in love with the process.
There will be plenty of opportunities to get discouraged, to lose your passion and think that it's not meant to be. But if you're going to reach your destiny, you have to have a made-up mind. If you give up after the first time, or the 5th time, or the 30th time, what that really means is you didn't want it bad enough. There should be something you're believing for, that you are relentless. You are not moved by how impossible it looks. You're not discouraged by how long it's taking. You don't give up because people told you no. Your attitude is, if I have to believe my whole life, I am not going to stop believing. I am not going to take no for an answer. I'm not going to settle for mediocrity. I'm going to keep pursuing what would endure.
And ask ourselves, what do I really want? What do I really want? And write it down. Writing causes thinking. Thinking creates an image. And you get these images going, you're building a vision in your mind. It's the visionaries that's changed the world. Think of that.
But what keeps that competitive edge, what keeps you on top, is the ability to think and prepare mentally over and over and over again. The body has limitations, the mind does not. We focus so much on what goes on from the neck down that we forget it all starts from here. Everything starts from here. If you're not mentally ready, you're never really physically prepared. And that's where the preparation starts.
What would your life be like as you look toward the future if you decided, I'm not going to allow my fears to stop me? And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender.
So when you're young and you make mistakes, don't let them eat you up. Because everybody that done made it. You got to fail in order to win.